All right. Welcome to Shaquatics Live. We start in 3 minutes. I thought I'd jump on right now because last time I had some technical issues, so I want to make sure. So we'll get started in 3 minutes as soon as I practice how to drink my tea without spilling it. In a few minutes, we're going to talk about the videos we got up, and then I will answer any questions you have. If you guys have any questions right now before we officially start at 11 o'clock, shoot me a question and we'll get started. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the Baseball World Series. And you say, wait a minute, this is water polo. But sports has universal themes. And if anybody's watching the Yankees-Dodgers in that last game, they know the story of the game was that I think in that fourth or fifth inning, the Yankees just had tons of errors. And I was talking to a baseball coach who actually coached the Yankees pitcher, and the Yankee pitcher made a mental error. And the coach was telling me that he knows better. That pitcher knows that play. He's done it thousands of times. And that he thought that the Yankee pitcher was frustrated with all of the mental errors that the rest of the team was making. And then that caused him to make a mental error. So that made me think of my interview with Weinberg when he talked about wasted focus. I've been giving this a lot of thought lately. The idea that if you're thinking about something that's happened in the past, you only have so much focus. And if you're thinking about something that happened in the past, you're wasting focus. And so I think what happened with that pitcher, and this is a professional pitcher, I think what happened with that pitcher is he was thinking about those mistakes that his team made, and it irritated him to the point where he then made a mental mistake. And so had he been able to really put that in the past and stay in the moment, then he would have made the correct play and wouldn't have compounded all the errors that his team was making. So I just find that interesting. It's great to watch other sports and to kind of see what the parallels are and what you can take from that and learn for your own game. All right. No question yet. Want to thank for always responding to my questions about center. Oh, Colin, you're welcome. I appreciate that. I try to, if you guys ask me questions on the videos, I try to get to as many of them as I can. And I try to be honest with you. If I don't have a great answer for you, I'm not quite sure, and then I'll be honest with you there too. But you're welcome, Colin. I appreciate you thanking me. I'm going to move this. This pencil's bugging me in the background here. There we go. That's better. That's better. All right. We're officially at 11 a.m. Shaquatics Live is rolling. Let's get this episode started. So I started talking about the World Series of baseball and mental toughness. And now I'm going to flip to, let's talk about the videos that we put out this month. And then again, if you guys have questions, shoot me a question and we'll take off on any avenue you guys want to go in. Okay. So we did tips. We had a video on tips to not get the ball stolen. So we talked about if you're going up and into your man and the defender is here and they come around here to try to steal the ball, you can't just turn to not let them steal the ball. They'll get a piece of that. You've got to push the ball in the direction that you're turning. Or if they're coming around this way to get the ball, push the ball in the direction that you're turning. That's a really important one. Really important. I would say every time I teach counterbalancing or hooks and turns, I always have to tell the offensive player to push the ball in the direction so they don't get that ball stolen. So there was a reason why I did that tip. That's really important. So I highly recommend you watch that video. I don't remember what it's called. Tips to not get the ball stolen. It's a short, I think. So check it out on our shorts. And then push that ball in the direction so you don't get it stolen. So that was one of our videos we did. Another video, I did a dry land egg beater video so that you can work, for those of you that are still working your egg beater, you can work your egg beater on dry land, which is a lot easier sometimes because you don't have to worry about staying up. And we did a video on what does it mean to walk it in. I think that came from somebody had a question. So what does that mean to walk it in? And we talked about walking the ball in, being a threat, trying to draw the defense towards you so you can drop it into 2 meters, or the defense hangs back, in which case you just be aggressive and you shoot. And then I think yesterday we did our backhand video. So I was really excited about having the backhand video come out. There we go. I've been wanting to do a backhand video for a long time, and we finally did it. We finally got it out. My only regret is that we don't have a layout shot video and a strong side shot video and a sweep shot video out yet. So I feel like if I'd had to do it all over again, I would start off with those layout, sweep shot, strong side first, and then I would have done backhand. But a lot of people want to know how to shoot a backhand, so we just put that out. And then I'll do a layout shot, strong side, and all those coming up. I know that last month we talked about the hooks and turns series that is coming. We have that shot. I gave you the little taste of the hooks and turns in that tip about pushing the ball forward, but we just need to edit it and get it up. My wife, I have her, it's funny. We're writing a book called Don't Make Noise, Lose with Poise. And we're trying to get it out before Christmas. So it's already November, 3-4 weeks. And I wrote it, and my wife Coach Brittany is illustrating it. And she's doing a really good job, but it's a lot of work to illustrate a book. A lot of work. So she can't necessarily edit all the videos we want her to edit because she's illustrating the book. But I can't wait for you guys to see the book because it's coming along really good. Should be 3-4 weeks. All right, so we got tips to not get the ball stolen, dry land egg beater, walk it in, and backhand. Who's got questions for me? Otherwise, I'll just talk polo. I'll do I could talk about what we did on, what I did on Instagram yesterday on backing somebody in and how to hold your position in 2 meters. We talked about that. I talked about elbow to elbow when you're backing the man in, strong elbows, not throwing elbows, but just strong arms, not loose, not weak arms, and not arms in. Strong arms driving your man back. And then when they try to go around you, you got to move laterally to the side so that they can't get around you easily. What I didn't put in that short little video I put up on Instagram is that if they start to beat you, you got to turn into it and reseal. So that may be a whole video series that we do. So again, you're riding them out, right? And if they start to beat you, meaning they start to get around you, then you turn into that place where they're getting around you, turn into it, and then you reestablish your position back here. And that allows you to hold your position and not allow them to get around you. Makes it really difficult to get around you. And again, like I said in the video, you're not trying to prevent them from ever getting around you. What you're trying to do is, let me angle this down a little bit. What you're trying to do is push them out so that you can get the ball in. So let's say the ball's up here and you're trying to get the ball in and they're trying to get around you this way, right? So you're trying to ride them out. So let's say at the end of the day, you're here and they're almost around you. Okay, well, let's erase this. Well, now, I mean, this is really great position for you. Yeah, this guy might not be able to throw it into you, but look at all this space you've created from riding him out. So if this guy's able to go up to point and in, now you've got something really great. And you got that by riding him out. Had you just stayed in place and let the guy come around you, then we don't have that great position. So riding them out allows you to carve out great space, even if they eventually get around you, because you've pushed them out so far, you've created that extra space in front of you, right? So some people get confused. They say, well, what's the point of riding them out if they eventually get around me anyway? That's not the point. The point is that when they eventually get around you, you've carved out an amazing position for yourself by riding them out. And then you incorporate that little turn in move, and it just makes it that much harder for them to get around you. And what I also told the person I was talking to online, remember, we're talking about 2 meters. And I think Capito mentioned this. Part of the job of the 2 meter man is not necessarily to score, but to suck in the whole offense. So you're 2 meters. Let's say you're the 2 meter player, okay? Let's say this is the 2 meter line right here. If you're driving your man back to the 2 meter line, then all these perimeter players around you get to be closer, right? So then if guys are sloughing, these shots are easier and closer to the goal. Whereas if you're the 2 meter player and you allow yourself to get pushed out to the 4, now your whole offense is pushed out back. So this guy is pushing everybody out. Whereas if he works his butt off and he gets in here, then everybody gets to move in. Now, the crazy part is he gets very little credit for these guys' shots, but the coach will give him credit. The coach knows, and the players know. So that's good enough for us. We don't need the spectators to know what he's doing, but he's got to work his butt off to drive this man deep so that the whole offense can move in. That's why it's kind of interesting. You know, you see Ben Halleck, one of the best 2 meter players in the world. He's not the leading scorer at all. Not even close. It's kind of weird. You think, well, he's in 2 meters. He's right in front of the goal, right? Our whole offense is predicated on getting the ball into 2 meters, which we'll talk about in just a second. Why shouldn't he be the leading scorer? In today's game, the 2 meter man draws ejections, sucks the defense in so that the outside shot is opened up. And that's what Ben Halleck does, and that's why he's not the leading scorer. But he's the reason why they're able to score. So he should almost get an assist on all those things. I mean, he drew dozens of ejections. He sucked in all the defense. So he should get assists on all those shots. And he does. All the players know that if not for Ben Halleck, they wouldn't be in position to shoot as easily as they are. And he does a really good job of sucking people in. So let's take a minute now that we're on that subject. I had a question come to me, and the question was, what do you do at each position, and what's the strategies? And so I think this is a really common question for players. I think coaches, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or right, and I'm open to questions. If you come on, you want to ask me questions, shoot it in there. I think coaches go past some of the basics and the basic strategies, and they get more complex and leave players behind who don't quite understand what we're trying to do. So I want to take a moment to simplify the game for everybody. Okay. I think you'll appreciate this. Let me grab my thing. Okay. So what are we trying to do on offense? Okay. Like we talked about before, the most important player on offense in the pool is a 2-meter man. Okay. That is our focus. Everybody else lines up around, right? And we're trying to get the ball into 2 meters. So when you're on offense, okay, get the ball into 2 meters. That's what we're trying to do. Now, what the defense does is going to dictate what we do then. So let's say the defender is here, right? And let's say you're here, because you want to know, the question was, what do I do at each position? Well, it kind of depends on what's going on and what the defense is doing. So that's why it's a complicated question. But the way I'm simplifying it is the answer to what do I do with the ball, and maybe I should do a video on this. What do I do with the ball? The answer to what do I do with the ball is what's going on in 2 meters. So let's say you're this guy. What do I do with the ball? The defense is here. So what should you do? You got to cross it or cross it. Why? So these guys can get the ball in, because I can't pass the ball into 2 meters. This defender is too high. I don't have the right angle. That's a dangerous pass right there. So set's not on my side. So I'm going to work the ball around to the side that set is on. So again, what do I do with the ball? The answers are in 2 meters. Look to 2 meters. I see it's not on my side. Cross it. Now, the problem is all these guys have to know what's going on too. So I can know that I have to cross it, but if this guy's laned up and this guy's laned up and this offensive player and this offensive player are just sitting there and they're not releasing, I can't get it to them. So that's why we say it's a team game. You can have 5, 6 people know what they're doing, and you can have 1 or 2 that don't, and the 1 or 2 that don't will mess up the entire game for the other 5 people. And it's really annoying, but it's a team sport. So you got to yell at these guys, release, get open, release, get open. Because you got to get it down. And then they got to know, boom, and in. So, again, what do I do with the ball? Look to 2 meters. Give you another situation. All right. 2 meters is fronted. What do we do in this situation? This offensive player should push. Well, one thing he can do, he could try to get around him and get position. But one thing he could do, if he has the space, he could push this defender out a little bit. Right? So maybe get to here. And then we've got some great inside water right here. So you have the ball. Let's say you're at point this time. What do I do with the ball? The question is, what do I do with the ball on offense? The answer is look and see what's going on in 2 meters. If you don't look into 2 meters, when you have the ball, you are throwing it blind, meaning you're throwing it without proper information. So what do I do with the ball? Look to 2 meters. Now, in this situation, he's pushing the guy out. He's fronted. Can you pass the ball in? No, you cannot. Right there. Defender's right here. We don't want to throw the ball through the defender. In this situation, wing and in. Wing and in. The wings have the angle to throw it into 2 meters. So you got to go wing it in. Again, like we talked about in the last play, though, the wings have to know what's going on too, because they have to release. So you could yell, wing it in, wing it in, wing it in, boom, and in. Let's say we're here. Let's say this guy's dropped in and this guy's here. And you have the ball here. Okay? What do I do with the ball? Answer, look to 2 meters. So what's going on in 2 meters? I've got this defender at the wing is dropped in. So he's sloughing. So can I pass the ball into 2 meters? No, I'm going to get it stolen. So one thing you could do, get it to the open man. Then the walk it in kicks in. So pass it to the open man. And now he's got to walk it in, draw the defender, and pass it in 2 meters, or shoot the ball. But remember what I said, when you walk it in, you don't want it from the wing. You want to kind of, this is kind of a bad, it's not to scale. So let's see if we can draw it a little bit better, so more realistic. So let's say it's like here, and then your guy's here. Okay. So you don't want to go straight down when you walk it in. You want to kind of curl in. And that gives you a better shooting angle. So you want to shoot from here. You want to shoot from here and give yourself a better shooting angle. So when you're on the wings, if you're getting dropped off of, don't go straight down and give yourself a better shooting angle. Curl into what we call this pocket. Curl into the pocket and walk it in. And walk it in as far as you can until the guy comes out at you. Or you feel comfortable you can shoot it. But if he jumps out at you, you better drop it into 2 meters. Don't jump out at you and then just try to shoot it, right? You win. If the defense jumps out at you, you won. Drop it into 2 meters. Be a threat, though. The goalie has to think that you're going to shoot it. So again, what we're doing here for those of you who maybe just jumped on late is I'm trying to simplify the game. We started with offense. I'm trying to simplify the game for you because I feel like sometimes coaches jump to more complicated stuff and their players don't understand the basics. And so then they get confused, right? So I started with, how do you know what to do with the ball on offense? And the answer is, what's the answer? Say it. Look to 2 meters. Look to the center position for answers. The answers are in the center position. Say you have the ball and center's here and you have the ball here, right? Well, set's on your side. So you can go ahead and set the ball into 2 meters. Great, set it. You see this defender kind of come in a little bit. You can't set it, drop it down there. Make this defender come out. So see, just by looking into 2 meters, you know exactly what to do. The first situation, the defender is pressed out. You drop it in. Second situation, this defender was in. So you drop it down to the wing. Just by looking into 2 meters, gave you exactly what you needed to know. So I hope that helps kind of clarify what you want to do on offense. Look to 2 meters. We're trying to get the ball into 2 meters. How do we do that? Make the appropriate pass. Defensively, there's different defensive schemes that you're going to run. You may run just a basic press. All right. Hello, Epic Clips. Welcome. So you may want a basic press. So we're talking defense now. basic press. You just stay in between your man and the ball. Excuse me. You stay in between your man and the goal. Basic press. You may run lanes, a lanes defense, and that's a fronting. So in the lanes defense, you need to know where the ball is. Let's say the ball is up here at point. In a lanes defense, you're fronting 2 meters, and then all of the defenders are up in this lane. And that's a ball denial defense. So there's a passing lane here, a passing lane here, a passing lane here, a passing lane here, and a passing lane here. So as a defender, if you're running a lanes defense, you're staying in your body, your physical body is in the lane between the ball and your guy. And as we talked about, if you're in a lanes defense, you got one hand on your man and you got your head on the swivel. Man, ball, man, ball, man, ball, man, ball. The whole time. Why? Well, you have to know where your guy is. And you have to know where the ball is if you're on a lanes defense. So if you lose track of where the ball is, you can't be in the lane. Because if the ball goes from point to this wing, now the lanes change. So if the lanes change, you need to know where they are so you can move. All right, so I got a couple questions here. All right, let's get to them. My coach tells me I need to work on my one-on-one defending skills. Can I have some tips? Well, that's funny because I was just giving you a great tip on one-on-one defensive skills. Okay, let's talk about one-on-one defense. Hand on, hips up, head on a swivel. That's the basic foundation for man-to-man defense. Hand on your man, not on top of the shoulder, on the side. If you put it on top of their shoulder, you're just going to invite a wrestling match because nobody wants to be sunk. So you're going to get a wrestling, you're going to get punched, you're going to get kicked. It's just, you're not trying to, you want to be a defensive pest, but you don't need to get in a brawl. Okay. So you just put it on the side, on here, and you push because you want to push them out. That's the other thing. You're not trying to sink them. You want to push them out. Further away from the goal, the better for you, right? So hand on, open hand, not grabbing, open hand, push, hips up. Why are your hips up? So you can move laterally. And I did a couple videos. Let's see, who asked this question? User. Your name's User? Okay. I did a couple videos on crab defense. That's hips up defense. I call it crab. It kind of looks like a crab. And that's the best way to play defense because you need to be able to move laterally on your hips. So I would watch those videos on crab and I would learn how to do crab. Now I haven't finished them. I've started them. There's much more to do and it's difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not easy. You got to practice it and you got to get good at it. But the general principles are hand up, hand on, hips up, head on a swivel, man ball, okay? The reason why your hand's on him is when you turn to look for the ball, I know exactly where my guy is because my hand's on him. The last thing you want to do as a defensive player playing man-to-man defense is turn to look for the ball and take your hand off the man. Why? Because as soon as I turn, a good offensive player is going to take off and beat me. I don't know where he is. But if I have my hand on and I turn, I know exactly where he is. If he moves, I'm good. I can move with him. All right. And then you have to be able to absorb the first 2 to 3 strokes in your hips up crab. You can't immediately drop your hips and go swim. The first 2 to 3 strokes, you should absorb with your crab. And then last thing, User, I'll tell you, that's okay. I don't care if the name is User. So the last tip I'll give you for man-to-man defense is, and I did a video on this, so you're going to watch it. You want to, as soon as you feel the offensive players start to drive on you, you want to push off them a little bit and push your hips up and back. So let me just show you what that looks like, kind of like here. So if I'm hand on, hips up, right, and my defender starts to drive, as soon as he starts to take a stroke, I just give him a little push and I pitch my hips up and back. And so let me see what the video is called. Let's see if I can find it real quick so I can tell you what it is, because it's a really good one. If you don't push your hips up and back when they start to drive, you will get beat on that first stroke. That's the problem. And when you push your hips up and back, it gives you a little buffer, a little foot and a half to work with, to get you to move so you don't get beat on that first stroke. The drive is won or lost for the offensive player on that first pop, that first stroke. If they can beat you on that first stroke and a half, they've won. If you can kind of absorb that first burst, you've got a good chance of guarding that drive. So let me find that video for you. Let's see. Content. Hand on. Okay. How to skull. No. Here we go. So the one of them is get crabby while playing defense, hips up position. So get crabby while playing defense. And then shoot, where is that one? I don't see it. Hips up position. It was right. Here we go. Drive defense. Okay. So user, here it is. Simple fix to stop getting beat off the drive. Simple fix to stop getting beat off the drive. That's the one. Take a look at that one and then let me know. Okay, if it's just you and the goalie, when do you recommend a skip shot and when do you recommend just going for top corners? So Valhalla, I like that name. I'm assuming, are you talking about like a 1-on-0? I'm assuming, let's just assume you're talking about a 1-on-0. It's just you and the goalie. I think in that situation, you got to go with the shot you feel most confident with. So I'm not sure it matters. If you're, 4 meters away from the goal, I always would do an upper corner shot. And especially if you're on a 1-on-0, because you get to pump fake, right? So you can, especially if you have time for a couple pump fakes, pump, and then cross it to the other corner is easy. But if you feel really confident in your skip shot, you can do the same thing with the skip shot too. So I don't think I have a preference in that one, just the one you have most confidence in. Where you need to be able to do both, obviously, is those situations, especially like on a man up. Sometimes on a man up, you can't do a skip shot because there's people in front of you. You'll hit your player right in the head. And sometimes you just want to throw the ball cross cage upper corner to try at the end of the shot clock to try to get the goalie to block it out so you get a new shot clock. So my biggest thing with skip shots is just be able to do both skip shots and upper corner so that you can pick the one you think is best in the moment. So you're not always forced to do a skip shot when it's not appropriate. When do you swim out as center, like give up when you feel like you don't have it, or just keep committed and hope you get a foul? That's a great question, Colin. That's a great question. If you're not able to hold position for longer than 3 to 5 seconds, I would say the matchup is not great for you. Because we're trying to work the ball around to you, and if every 2-3 seconds the defender's able to take away that position and we're not able to get it into you, then I would try to find a better matchup. That would be my thing. You have to be able to hold your position for long enough for us to get the ball into you. And then on the flip side, that you're teammates have to be able to effectively work the ball around and get it into you within an appropriate amount of time. They can't leave you hanging. Nobody's expected to hold their position for 30 seconds while we take our time getting it around to you. Nothing's more frustrating as a 2-meter player than sitting there and holding, working your butt off for a position. And it takes 10, 12, 14, 15 seconds to get it in. They got to get it into you. But if you're constantly losing position, then maybe the matchup's not great for you. And that's what, see, I said one of the negatives of a team sport is that you can have 6 players on the same page. And if one player is out to lunch, you can lose, and it's frustrating. That's the downside of the team sports. The upside is you don't have to do everything. Not every matchup is in your favor. So if you go into 2 meters and the guy's just bigger than you and stronger than you and faster than you, and so no big deal. Just swim out and let somebody else go in. There should be somebody on your team in there with a favorable matchup. Find that matchup and exploit it. And then 2 or 3 possessions later, you may have the great matchup. And then it's like, get out, I'm going in, right? People make it too hard. People make all sports too hard. Nothing frustrates me more than going into set against their main defender, the guy they want guarding you, and there's not any better matchup on the perimeter that you guys see. So you're fighting against their best defender. And if you're the man, if you're willing to do that and you're successful in there, then that's fine. But a lot of times the matchup's not great. And you're just fighting against their best defender with not a great matchup. It's like, get out and let another teammate in and make your life so much easier. And don't fight against logic. You have to be able to not have your ego into it. It's not an ego thing. It's just wait your turn for a good matchup. And then when you get it, you go in. And a lot of times, Colin, I'll say, you kind of know when you can take somebody, right? I always knew I could take this guy. This is my time. Or, it's not good. I'll do something else. So use your instincts there too, Colin, because I bet you know. And then, Colin, we might need to talk about how you exit as a 2-meter player. If you guys need to know how you exit as a 2-meter player, ask me that in the questions and I'll go over it. If you guys know how to do it, then I won't go over it. Okay. Sir. Ooh, I like that. Sir. Which zone would be a much more effective crash zone or a drop zone? Kind of depends on where their shooters are at and who you want to shoot. You saw this a lot in the U.S. the women's, not the U.S. women's, the women's Olympics. I saw this a lot. They would isolate maybe a shooter, especially a right-handed shooter on that lefty side, and then they would drop off that. So this defender here would drop back into 2 meters and they'd drop off this 5 position. I think it's 5 position on my board. I don't know if it's flipping on your screen. If it's flipping, I apologize for that. But on my board, I'm showing 5. Anyway, so this right-hander is over here, so they don't have a great shooting angle. And so they just make it a little opportunistic drop there. But that doesn't mean that's the best drop to do, because if this guy's a lefty and he's one of their best shooters, he's just going to rock up into the pocket, and that's not going to be a good idea. So the best zone is going to depend on what team you're playing. Obviously, the most common is not that 5 drop. The most common would be this. I'll just do the top. Would be this kind of soft press that they run here, where if this guy has the ball, this guy comes out to him, and these guys drop back. And then if he passes it, this guy comes out and this guy drops back. And then they just toggle back and forth. That's probably the most common one that you'll see. Ooh, another sir. Thank you, user. My name's Link. I emailed you a couple of days ago. Oh, okay. Oh, Link. Okay, cool. Thank you for emailing me. All right, Valala, because ever since I've started to shoot a decent skip shot, my accuracy has gone down dramatically. I'm assuming you're saying your accuracy with your upper corner. are you, Valala, so I have questions for you then. You say your regular upper corner shot accuracy has gone down since you started doing skip shots. So my question to you is, are you continuing to practice your upper corner shots in addition to your skip shots, or have you focused too much on your skip shots? Because if you're, here's the danger with skip shots. Skip shots are fun. We all know it. Love to do a skip shot. That's why I almost never practice skip shots, because you guys are going to want to practice skip shots till the cows come home. If the coach gives you 30 minutes to screw around, you guys are all going to be doing skip shots, right? Me too. So I don't worry about that. I focus on practicing my upper corner. To me, that's the one that people kind of ignore. So my first question to you, Valala, would be, have you ignored or have you not been practicing your upper corner shots as much? And if that's the case, I would redouble my efforts on my upper corner shots. That's my recommendation to you, if your accuracy has gone down in that area. And then focus in on, so a lot of times when you're doing skips, you're just trying to throw the ball super hard on that water. It's a little different on an upper corner shot. You really need to snap the wrist to the target. So Valala, when you're working on your upper corner shots, okay, really snap your wrist right to that target, right in that upper corner where you want. And maybe take your velocity down to like 80% intensity to really get the accuracy, and then build it back up. Sometimes we're trying to shoot so hard that our accuracy suffers. All right. As a defender, I just try to be annoying. Yeah, that's good. So they receive a bad pass or get discouraged. Yeah, you want to be, but the way you want to be annoying is by staying in front of them, not letting them beat you. You don't want to be annoying by grabbing them and putting your hand on top of them, pushing underwater, because that kind of annoying leads to you getting punched and kicked and elbowed. It just depends on how you want to play. If you want every game to be a brawl, then by all means, put your hand on top of their shoulder and try to sink them. It's a good player is not going to be shut down by you putting your arm on top of their shoulder. They're just going to be annoyed and grab you and pull you and kick you and stuff like that. So that's why I recommend just putting, you get everything you need to have by just having your hand right on the side. That's all. And the other thing is too, if you go on top of their shoulder, that brings you closer to them. You don't want to be closer to them. You want to be arm's distance away. So the closer you get, the more you risk getting hooked around the waist. And you don't want that. So right here, stay away. All right, Link, I watched your video on the screw shot, probably one of the best videos I've ever watched for shooting. Ooh, thank you. Appreciate that. I recommend that video on any water polo players that get counters a lot. I agree. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. The screw shot, it's interesting. It's such a great shot to have, but it also, when you learn how to screw shot and tee shot and do the pop shot, once you get good at those things, those skills will help you do other things, because in addition to working those cool shots, you're also really working your ball handling skills and your ability to pick the ball underneath and get it and pop it. And all those things will help you. And as you grow and develop, you'll develop different things you can do within those shots. So really, it's kind of fun. Those shots provide a nice little starting place to just take off. And yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I love the screw shot, and I love teaching it, and the tee shot as well. So if you can't get open and set for 3 to 5 seconds, you should probably clear out. Yeah, if you can't hold your position, if the defender's constantly getting around you so that we can't get the ball in. So what I mean by that, I'll just show you real quick on the board. You're in here in 2 meters, okay? And let's say you're holding this right here. Well, if the ball's here, right, we've got to cross it and get it in. But if by the time we cross it, this guy already gets around you, and then we can't get it in, then it's not a good matchup for you. You have to be able to hold it for a few seconds so we can get the ball into you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Also, yeah, that first question I asked. Okay. But let's see. Right hander in a lefty zone, left. Your coach told you to never practice skip shots. Okay. I'd have to see you in the water to see what's going on. I don't know if never practice skip shots, but I'm a big believer in upper corner shots. So he's probably saying the same thing I'm saying, just a little bit differently. He wants you guys to practice upper corner shots, and he knows that if you practice skip shots, that's all you're going to practice. If he knew that you would practice skip shots and practice upper corner shots, he would probably be fine with both, because skip shots have a place in the game. That's just a fact. The unfortunate part is we fall in love with the skip shot, and then we don't practice our other shots. That's the problem. It's similar to the backhand. There's nothing wrong with the backhand. Backhands are great. But if you only do a backhand, that's a problem. You are not going to be a well-rounded player. You're going to be a one-pump chump. And that's the same thing that you're going to be if all you do is skip shots. The goal, think about it. If the goalie knows you're doing a skip shot every time, don't you think that's an advantage for the goalie? Just like if you have no catch and shoot, it's a huge advantage for the goalie. He knows you're going to catch it, hitch, come back, and shoot. He knows you can't do this. Huge advantage. Be a well-rounded player. Be able to do everything. Skip shot, upper corner, catch and shoot, catch and pump fake, all of it. All right. Yeah, never practice skip shot. That's funny. I don't grab ever. Good. Yeah, just trying to move and be quicker. Good. Yeah, recommend grabbing as little as possible. Play. The phrase I like to use is play the position, not the man. Play the position. If you're in great defensive position, most of these guys you're playing, they're not used to that. They're used to the defender grabbing and pulling and dropping their hips. They're not used to somebody playing good defensive position, and that'll frustrate them. I reduced how much practice I was putting in my corner shots. I've been trying to practice when I shoot high corner, it goes way lower than I expect it to. Tried slowing down. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to work on your wrist, Palala, and you need to snap your wrist to the upper corner target. Start at 4 meters out. Okay, bring your arm up. Okay, and just snap and plunk it. Give me 10 right in the upper corner on the right side, all in the same place. Don't alternate. Pick one corner, 4 meters out. Plunk, corner, 2, plunk, 10 times, then back up. Same corner, 10 times, then back up 6 meters, 10 times, then back up 7 meters, plunk 10 times, then do the other corner. Snap your wrist to the target. Try that drill for me, and then tell me how it goes. All right. My coach recently invited me to play for his men's league. Oh, 16. Okay, I've been challenged by putting up against a lot stronger players. Yeah, that's tough. So probably they're really fast too. Stronger, faster players, you have to, and you're undersized. I talk about this on my undersized video. I was also undersized. I was 5'11", playing in college, and most guys are bigger than 5'11", and most guys were faster than me. So I know quite a bit about this. You have to be stronger mentally. You have to be tougher. You have to be, like you said earlier, a pest. You have to not give up. And you have to be scrappy. So there it is. I mean, there's no easy way. There's no sugarcoating to it. You're undersized. You're probably slower than them. So you have to make up for it in other ways. And one of the ways you can do that is by working your butt off. Intensity. And being a pest and not giving up. I mean, it is in college. Have you seen the guys in college? 5'11" is undersized in college. I went back to the back to my college a couple years after I graduated, and the current players, I was looking up at them like this. They were all like 6'4" and taller. So 5'11" might not be undersized in high school, although it probably is nowadays. Who knows? But definitely in college, I was the smallest guy on my team, basically, my whole life, high school and college. All right. What can I do when I'm being tight marked? What the heck does that mean, Noah? Tight marked. Explain tight marked to me. Is that a term or is that a typo? If it's a term, I'm not familiar with it. So while we're waiting for Noah to explain that, anybody else have any questions? We're going to wind down. My goal is to do 45 minutes. We're at 47. So I'll see if Noah can follow up on that. And then if anyone has any last little questions they want to ask me. If you have a question and you didn't get to ask it today, shoot me a message and I'll do my best to answer it for you. Sometimes it's hard, but sometimes I have a video I can recommend. How do you manage 4 to 5 new players in a team that's been together for 5 years? We don't really have extra pool time for extra training. 4 to 5 new players. How do you integrate them? Good question. How do you integrate 4 to 5 new players? First of all, you have to, as a coaching standpoint, you have to inculcate them in your culture immediately. And hopefully your existing players have some strong leadership skills. So what's interesting is my college coach, Mike Sutton, I asked him about this when I interviewed him. And he gave me this really interesting answer because on our college team, we had a really strong culture. When I came in as a freshman, it was very clear that this team was all about excellence and that anything beneath that was not tolerated. So that if you wanted to be on this team, there was a certain standard. And that was very clear coming in. And it was established by the upperclassmen, the juniors and seniors. And I asked my coach, I said, this was years later, obviously, I asked him, how did you do that? And he said, listen, if you have the leadership in place at the upper levels, I don't have to do anything, hardly, very little. He said, where I have to put the work in is if I don't have that leadership. So for Colin, for this coaching question, if you have the leadership and the upperclassmen on your team to teach the new players how to act, how to behave, how to play the right way, the way your culture is on your team, then you can kind of back up and not do so much. If you don't have that leadership, then you've got to step in and you've got to establish it right away with those new players. Otherwise, they could infect your team and you have a mess on your hands. So establish how you want the team to play, how you want them to act, how you want them to behave. And how you want them to treat you and how you will treat them, and establish that early so that you don't have to play catch up later on. That's my recommendation. All right. Okay. Aspirations for playing in college. How can I get there? Oh, you're welcome, Pawn. You're welcome. I'll just give you a couple things. The college game, I noticed you have to be a really complete player. Some of the gimmicky things you can get away with in high school, you can't really get away with in college. I'll just give you one quick example. I would play on the wing a lot because I was a lefty, and I would drive. In high school, I would get a lot of goals. I would drive my guy down to the 2, get inside water, get the ball in, and get my guy ejected or shoot the ball. And in college, I couldn't do that because the defenders were too good normally. So I had to expand my game a little bit and get a little bit more creative. As you go up in levels, everything shortens down. So where you had 3 seconds in high school to make a play, in college, you have a half a second. In high school, you could get away with passing the ball in the water in a certain play. In college, it has to be dry or it'll be done. In high school, you could skip low, strong side low. In high school might go. In college, strong side low is not going to go. You've got to have a cross cage shot, right? So my recommendation for those players trying to get to college is have a complete game, be able to shoot both corners, and tighten up those areas and those reaction times so that you can make plays more quickly. And where you need to have dry passes, make the dry passes. And where you need to catch it dry, make sure you catch it dry. And where you need to be able to catch and shoot, make sure you can catch and shoot. That's a couple of recommendations for high school to college. Okay, guys, message me on questions. I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to get the Hooks and Turns series out, but as I said, we're writing a book right now, and Coach Brittany is illustrating it, and it's going really good. And we're gonna have that out hopefully in a few weeks, and then she'll be able to edit those Hooks and Turns videos, and we'll be able to get that out. But we just had the backhand video come out, so if you haven't seen the backhand video, watch that and let me know what you think. I'm really excited about that. Okay, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, and first of every month. I'll see you guys next month. Bye. Thank you.